Hey friends, I hope all is well. In this video, I wanted to spend some quality time in my sketchbook. I've been working on the portrait of my grandma and painting a little butterfly painting as a little treat for myself. But I missed my sketchbook and I missed pencil and pen on paper. And so I thought this video we could have a little sketchbook session. I picked out some supplies from pens to graphite that I wanted to use in this session. And I also stuck a piece of craft paper onto the sketchbook page because I tried drawing with gel pen and it did not work. And so I just needed to cover that mess up. And I did so with craft paper. So now I have a tone tan sketchbook page. This first portrait that we'll begin with is of a young girl with a pouty face. For whatever reason, I love drawing cranky, pouty faces. I think it's big fun. With this portrait, I first went in with a light blue ballpoint pen, followed by a green ballpoint pen. And then later you'll see that I use Stabilo felt tip pens to darken corners and edges around the face, around the eyes. And then I also used a Prismacolor white colored pencil for highlights and those things. I'm actually not too familiar with tone tanned paper and working on tone tan paper, so I had a lot of fun experimenting. As I was drawing this next portrait, you'll see I started to write down my thoughts in real time. I just made a list, and I thought maybe you'd find it interesting to hear some things that I think about while I'm drawing. In this case, drawing with graphite. So one of the first things that I wrote down on my list was to try and simplify the eyebrows. I want to focus on shapes more, and rather than drawing each individual eyebrow hair, I was trying to tell myself to simplify the eyebrows. I also wrote only draw corners of the eyes. What I meant there was, instead of outlining the entire eye, just kind of draw in the corners, because the eye will make itself up when you look at it. And then I kind of experimented a little, not a lot, but a little, with this portrait, and I just turned the pencil on the side a little more just to kind of see what happened. And so I made a note of that. I really want to try that technique where artists use a blade to sharpen the pencil to expose more of the lead, and I think what that does, it helps vary your line weight, and I would like to try that technique. Okay, and so another thing that I wrote was, what shapes do I see? Trying to focus on shapes, because I don't think I always think about shapes. Oh, see, there you can see on the screen the list I'm referring to. Anyways, after that I wrote balance between blending and marks. So I tend to use my blending stump a lot, but I don't want it to look too smudged and blended, and so anytime I use the blending stump, I tried to balance it with some scratchy marks, I guess. Next, I also told myself, don't rush, give it the time it needs, process over product. I wrote Sergeant because I was trying to be mindful of how Sergeant basically renders what he wants people to look at, and so I was just trying to keep that in mind. I wrote put it in shadow, I guess. Not being afraid to put things in shadow, maybe, was what I was trying to tell myself. Cohesiveness. I wrote, line drawing around face. Don't really know what that means. I think what I did here in this portrait is I tried different line weights around the face, and I tried experimenting with that and see how that looked. Grip on the pencil, I wrote because when I'm going in for detail, I'll hold my grip closer to the tip of the pencil, whereas if I don't want as heavy of a line, maybe I'll grip farther away from the pencil. I wrote too symmetrical because as I was drawing the hair, there were times when I made like 3 lines in the same direction. They were all parallel, and things in real life aren't necessarily that parallel and symmetrical, and so I tried to not make it look symmetrical, basically. And then lastly, it's like some things I wrote was like come back later because it was starting to get a little muddy, and push the darks more, just keeping value in mind and value scale in mind. So yeah, those are just some running thoughts. finally, I just went back in with an olive green highlighter just to kind of add some finishing touches and bring things together a little more, wrap things up a little more. I do feel like I ended up overworking this portrait just a tad, as well as the portrait in graphite. It's a hard thing to do, to know when to pull away and to know when to stop, because you can just get wrapped in it sometimes, but I still like how they turned out at the end of the day. Okay, that is going to be it for this portrait drawing sketchbook session. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe because it's very encouraging for me to keep making videos. And hopefully I will see you in my next one. Bye!